+1 survival limit and lets us spend 2 endeavors to roll 1d10. On a 1 to 3, you spend 3 resources and gain 1 understanding. On a 4 to 7, you gain 2 survival and 2 insanity. And on an 8 plus, you gain you get to do the white speaker event. I don't actually know what that is off the top of my head. I do know that 2 endeavors this early on is pretty expensive, and that we don't have 3 resources to spend, really, a lot of the time.
Mm.
Paint gives us the dash survival action. That's it. And dash can be used once around. You spend 1 survival to gain a movement and use it immediately. And drums lets you spend 1 survival to roll on the table. 1 to 4 you gain an insanity. 5 to 8 you gain a survival. And you, on a 9 plus, remove 1 disorder from any departing survivors. Gain +1 survival.
No, from any survivor, and then a departing survivor gets a survival.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to be
I
the
was
person
like-
who rolled it, or
No, just any. Yeah, you can just roll that, and then you can remove disorders from anyone. Drums are kind of cool. Dash is really good. So an example of something you can do with dash. So the antelope targets you, or whatever, anything targets you, and you are at the max range for that. So it's gonna. So like the flow on the AI card is like pick target, right? And then there's that little downwards arrow, and then move and attack. And the timing for you to use survival is in that little arrow. That's like the flow on the AI card, they call it. And during the flow, you can use survival. So the monster picks a target, and then you can move out of range, and it still keeps with the same target. So instead of like using a dodge to avoid one of the hits, you can use a dash to avoid being attacked altogether by just moving out of range. So I think dash is pretty valuable, but also drums are great for, I mean, disorders are not terribly uncommon, and drums are great for that. Having an additional survival limit wouldn't be bad, but I feel like the rest of storytelling is kind of... I don't know what white speaker is. I just don't know. I've never done it. I could cheat and look, but I kind of prefer not to do that stuff. But it is a story event, so if you're more like, hey, we should do a story thing and try to get white speaker, even though it's like crazy expensive.
It seems like paint's probably the best, just to get
the dash.
the
dash.
dash. I mean, I don't know.
I
It seems like it's going to be more useful overall.
yeah, I agree.
I generally think that getting your survival options out there is pretty good. So
I mean, look at how
I'm
much
gonna
the
guess
elk
that-
effed us up.
Oh wait! I only drew 3 cards. 4.
Lantern oven.
So that gives us heat, and +1 survival when we depart. So we get 2 survival when we depart, and we would have heat. And heat
Fuck.
means that we can make immediately Monster Tooth Necklace, and it means that when we make our weapon crafter, we can make the scrap sword and the scrap dagger. So
Well, damn it.
there are those things. Heat is great, but yeah, heat is great. That's really all I have to say about that. Paint
But-
does let us make blood paint, but you know we don't have a bladder.
Well,
we
yes. Oh, I mean, the heat. I mean the whatever it is. The oven gives us heat and that extra survival, so we're going out with 2 instead of just the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a solid debate between whether we want paint for dash, which lets us make better use of our 1 survival that we get when we go out,
Right.
or we want heat. I mean, we draw 4 cards at a time, but as we add more consequences, it gets like harder and harder to draw the shit you want. So whichever one we don't take right now, we're going to be less likely to see again in the future. Um, so it is reasonable to think future forward and go, would we rather go without dash for a while, or would we rather go without heat for a little while,
Well,
potentially?
I think if we're
Um,
talking future, I think heat would be something better just because of the stuff we could buy or make rather, not buy. But I don't know. The dash seems really nice. I mean, the antelope like was destroying us because we couldn't get it out of the way. Like we spent half the time knocked down.
yeah, yeah, it's both. They're both very valid options,
Well,
unfortunately.
I mean, so I would argue oven just because we're gonna get the extra survival, so we're gonna go with 2 so we can dodge, and then I mean, especially like next time with antelope, like if it comes down to it, we just use encourage to get people like back up. I don't really know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if it comes to it, I don't know.
No, I like that.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, because we have
all
dodge
right,
and encourage, right? Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm voting up then.
okay. Let's get ourselves an oven. All right.
Where do these go? Back on this
Back right here.
way?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right back in there. Okay. So we have graves. Lantern oven. All right. Now we get to think about what gear we might want to make. So we have 3 bones, a whatever we want it to be, an organ, a hide, and then in storage, another organ and another hide. We could. Let me look. We have 2 scrap in storage also. So if we innovated the weapon crafter, um, we could use 2 scrap, and it would cost us 3 bone and a hide, so that would be literally all but one of our bones. But we could then make a like scrap sword or a scrap dagger. Or no, sorry, we could make a scrap dagger. We wouldn't have enough to make a scrap sword. So that would be an option for us. If you want to look at that stuff, the nice stuff about that is that it's not frail,
Right.
so it's never going to explode. Um, and for example, the scrap sword hits on a 5+, is 2 speed and is 3 strength, and then if you got on a perfect hit, it gains +4 strength for the rest of the attack, and then it gains deadly, which I think means it gets a 2nd damage on a crit, if I'm not wrong. That might be wrong actually. Let's double check. 3 because I think Savage might be that. Deadly. Oh, +1 luck while attacking with that weapon. So if you complete the 2 red and 1 blue affinity, which we're not going to be doing anytime soon necessarily, but it's not that hard eventually, so it kind of helps the weapon scale a little bit.
Okay.
The dagger is 3 speed, hits on a 7+, is 2 strength, and on a perfect hit, you gain 2 strength for the rest of the attack, so that's pretty decent. Other stuff that is good, the counterweighted axe, if you complete, so on a perfect hit, if you complete the affinity there, it, instead of drawing a hit location, you just you don't, without drawing a hit location, the monster suffers 1 wound, and so instead of drawing a hit location for that hit, you would just wound the monster. and which I guess means you can't crit, which is kind of weird. But then it's 2 speed, hits on a 6+, and is 4 strength. It also has reach 2, which means that you can be 1 space away. You don't have to roll for ticks, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to be adjacent to hit. You can be 1 space out of adjacent.
Okay.
So like that. So it's like basically if you want to go the sturdier, better weapons route, that is an option. If we want to move towards the antelope armor, we could use 3 organs, which I think we do have if we use the question mark thing, and a hide, which would have to be. Oh, we've got that mane in storage, which we could use as a hide.
Right.
And then we could use the pelt and one of our remaining bones to build a 1 piece of antelope armor. Would basically be, or we could, basically that would be our option. We could also make the beast knuckle, which is another Katara thing there. Or, without innovating anything, we could just hang on, or we could just use, like, the skull as a bone can be used to make a skull helm, which gives 3 armor to the head. But if you take a heavy head injury while you're wearing it, it is lost forever. So if you take 4 damage to the head, basically, over the course of 1 fight, you're going to lose it. So it's not like... It's super durable initially, but once you start to fight harder enemies, in theory, like, you're going to lose that.
So we'd lose it.
And then we'd have 3 hide that we could use on, like, rawhide armor,
Okay.
as it stands right now. So I feel like those are kind of our options as they stand. We can either innovate something and maybe get, like, 1 item off of it, or try to get more things from the, like, leather, or from the scannery, or we also have sinew, so we can make we don't have the lion claw to make the arrow, but we can make from the Gatarian, we can make the catgut bow because we have sinew and a bone. And the catgut bow is a ranged weapon, which is pretty cool. It costs your movement and your action to attack with it, which is kind of a pain. So you want to try to like, stay in range. But yeah, catgut bow.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's pretty good. It's 3 strength, 2 speed, and eventually, if you kill another lion, you can try to get the lion claw and build the arrow that goes with it. And from the arrow,
the clawhead arrow.
Yeah, the clawhead arrow. So that's it hits on a 6+, and it's 1 speed. And if you hit the monster gets a -1 evasion token, which means it's 1 easier to hit for the entirety of the showdown.
Nice.
So, and you don't actually have to wound with it; you just have to hit with it.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. So you just have to roll a 6+ or whatever. So that's like a pretty good combo. So we could, and we really could use another weapon, given that we lost that sword.
Well, and so my point here is going to be currently with my broken arm, the whip that I have is all but useless.
Yeah, I think in general, the 1 strength whip is not particularly useful. I don't really understand whips, but yeah, if you want to try to make a bow or something, we can, or whatever you want to do.
Well, I guess that's my, I mean, it goes back to my question of, if you switch proficiencies, do you lose the proficiency that you've already gained with another weapon?
You do.
Like 1 at a time?
Yeah. It's just
So,
gone
like, if
forever.
you